Welcome on into another video. So today I'm going to be taking you through the technique of the kettlebell swing. So how to do a swing either with a kettlebell or, as I'm going to be doing today, the dumbbell. As I work with my online Better Body members, this is a move that I like to put in a lot because it helps to build strength, particularly of the posterior chain, so the back of the body. It helps us to improve our cardiovascular fitness as we're using so many different body parts, that we elevate the heart rate so that we can get a good amount of fitness without having to have the impact that is sometimes associated with more cardiovascular movements. And it's also encouraging explosive power, which is essential for just living your fit, healthy life. You know, if you need to set off and go and run somewhere, you're going to need that explosive power. If you need to jump to catch something, you need that explosive power. So it is a really, really useful movement to train. However, there are a few key components that I often see people getting wrong. So I wanted to do this very quick demonstrational video to make sure that you can optimize your swings, get the most bang for your buck in your workouts, and also to help prevent injury. So if you've got any exercises that you are doing in your home workouts and you're like, oh, not really sure that I'm doing that quite right, let me know down in the comments and I can add it to these tutorial series that I'm going to be doing for my members and for anybody else out there who wants to improve their online workouts. Of course, if you want to come and coach with me and be guided through each of your workouts and your nutrition and your mindset around your healthy, happy body and lifestyle, then do check out the online Better Body Coaching, which you can find down in the link below. So let's get into it. Okay, so as I mentioned in the intro, I'm going to be using a dumbbell. If you do have a kettlebell, it's sometimes easier to hold. However, it can easily be done with a dumbbell, which most people have access to. And this is what I want the home workouts to be accessible to as many people as possible. So having a weight selection is an important part of it. We don't want to be lifting too heavy. Often when people complain of having lower back pain in the kettlebell swing, if it's done correctly, we shouldn't feel it in the lower back at all. So I'm going to take you through the basic setup. So the first part is to get the feet into alignment. So they should be just slightly wider than hip width, toes very, very slightly out to the side, or depending on what feels most comfortable. It depends on your natural gait. I tend to have a little bit out to the side, knees running in line with the toes. We don't want to be too far wide, but just having that straight forwards backwards position, so just slightly wider than hips. Our shoulders should be back and down, so we're engaged through the lats, and this is an important part of having that solid position into the swing. Practice, get a mirror, look at yourself doing the position, and just check with some of the key points that I'm going to be sharing with you today. So the swing is essentially just two body positions. It's going to be a hip hinge. So when I'm talking about hip hinge, think of having the back as a flat line, and we're going to hinge forward, sending the hips back, having a very slight bend in the knees, and the weight stays centered back down through the heels. Now you could check if your weight is in your heels by just lifting up your toes. We want to keep that weight back down so it stays in the posterior chain, meaning that we're working the hamstrings, the glutes, into the lats by keeping the shoulders up, back and down, and then also the abdominals. So two movements: hip hinge, keeping the head, I like to look out just a couple of meters in front because we don't want the strain in the neck of looking up. It should be just out in front. Shoulders are backing down, and then as we come back up to stand, we press our weight through the heels and squeeze through the glutes, and we get a tilt through the pelvis, so the pelvis is gently coming under, so we get that contraction with the lower abdominals and keeping that spine safe. And it's a breath out, and it's almost like an aggressive exhalation because that gets the internal abdominals fired up and working. So hip hinge, tipping forward, weighting through the heels, neck in alignment, shoulders back and down, breath out, come up. We shouldn't really feel this in the shoulders. So doing a couple of reps with the weight, shoulders back and down, sink back, nice and relaxed through the arms. My arms are very relaxed. I've got a very light grip. I say light grip, but secure grip. And the weight is going through the heels, firing up the glutes, getting those butt cheeks working, and it can really elevate your heart rate. I'm already feeling out of breath on a few repetitions. So I'm now just going to show you through some common mistakes. Often what people do is they'll squat too much, and then as they come up, using the arms and feeling it in the shoulders. Whilst a squat is a great position, it's not what the swing is about. It is a hinge, driving on the way up, that explosive power through the glutes, squeezing the abs, rather than being what this, as I sometimes say, squat and lift, taking the squat down too deep. A common mistakes, and sometimes people can complain of lower back pain in the swing, and it's important that we are mindful of that, but often it's just due to a loss of form and often being too much flexion through the spine, meaning that we haven't hinged from the hip, keeping the back straight. The back does not bend. So this is a common mistake where we get a rounding through the spine, dropping the head down, rounding the shoulders, losing that connection through the scapula and upper back, round, and really just not having a great posture as we go into it. And I can really feel that in my back. I sometimes suffer from lower back issues from having kids, yet I can effectively do a swing well, making sure that it's feeling it in the right parts into here. So rounding avoided. We want the shoulders back and down, and think about sending the hips backwards as we go. So those are the main mistakes that we see in the swing, or sometimes like rolling onto the toes also. So check your position in a mirror. Take a look. Is your spine remaining flat? Have you got that tucking under of the tailbone as we come to that top position and we breathe out? Keeping the shoulders engaged, back and down throughout. Another element is when, especially for rounding, we can get an overextension. Again, not great from the back. We're coming up to a straight position and getting that, it's a snap almost of the legs, but my legs don't go completely straight because I've tucked the pelvis under.